This is a live broadcast from a migrant refugee camp outside the town of Dunkirk. It's not the jungle in Calais, which is the one that is going to be partially demolished. This is an entirely separate camp, full largely of different nationalities who differ from those who are in the jungle. The people here are almost exclusively Iraqi Kurds, and the people in the jungle are a mixture of other nationalities, some Syrians, but many Africans as well. The conditions here are truly horrendous. You can see the mud on the ground all around. You may think these tents are empty. Some of them clearly are, because they've been flattened. But many of these tents have got people living inside them. I've just spent the past hour walking around, looking inside some of the tents, talking to some of the people. There are people here, although it's feeding. There is some feeding points, some food points over in the main bit of the camp at the moment. So a lot of people are over there getting some food. How many people are here? Estimates range from 2,000 to 4,000 people in this particular camp. We're in one small area of it. Just look how thick the mud is down here. So I'm just on the northern edge of the camp at the moment, but it stretches right the way across this wooded area into an open area over in that direction, where there are many more people as well. Quite hard to walk in this mud. Anyone got any questions? Because lots of people have lots of questions about this migrant crisis, I think. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? How are you? Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. Questions? Someone's saying that they should go home. These people have fled from, as I say, from northern Iraq, Kurdistan, the west side of Kurdistan, which for quite a while was controlled by IS, the Islamic State. And I think, certainly from the stories, they're telling us that that is why they fled their home. Why is France not giving better accommodation? You may well ask. Part of the problem, I can tell you, is that there is this dilemma that Western European governments have about if they create decent conditions for people to live in, it creates a magnet, and therefore more and more people will come, and governments are very reluctant to encourage more and more people to come. But that said, these conditions really are not fit for anyone at all. There's some washing hung up there. People are trying to live as normal a life as they can. Are they in the process of receiving asylum? For how long? How far along are they in the process? Some of them may well be, but many of them don't want to stay in France. Now that may seem crazy, that they don't want to stay in France. They want to go to the UK, but there are a variety of reasons why they say they want to go to the UK. Some people, quite a lot, will have family already there, and therefore it's kind of only natural you want to go and join up with your family that's already in the UK. Others don't speak any French. They speak pretty good English, and so they want to go to the UK for that reason. There is also a perception, incorrect, that they may not get asylum in France. Rumours go around camps like this very quickly that asylum is not going to be possible in France, and therefore you've got to go to the UK. And so the misinformation among the refugees is remarkable. They don't know what rights they've got, they don't know what options they've got, and so they're kind of at a loss as to what to do. I sometimes think that the authorities should sort of walk around with loud hailers and actually explain to them in their language, in the language they speak, what they can do, and that just doesn't happen. There are no officials here at all. There is no one in authority is here. The only volunteers and aid agencies are here. Someone's saying they're scammers. Well, if they are, they're pretty resilient scammers to live in a place like this. If they're scamming, my sense is they're not. Are these settlements legal? No, they are illegal, but the authorities are not doing anything to stop them. Yeah, there's someone in there. They don't want to be filmed, I don't think. That happens a lot, and it creates a sense of suspicion. People will think, well, hang on, why doesn't that person want to be filmed? The answer, almost always, is because they've got family back in the country that they've fled. They think the authorities in that country might see that they've fled and they might get into trouble. That's the reason people don't want to. A lot of people don't want to be filmed. Are there many children here? Yes, sadly, there are. We're just coming into the main sort of thoroughfare of the camp here. There's a little child here. Up in Calais earlier, I met some unaccompanied children as well. Their parents are either dead or still in the country they fled. But there are a striking number of children. I'll certainly try to speak to somebody in a minute, if we can. Someone's saying here they're not genuine. If they were, they would have gone to the nearest safe country. Okay, there's a couple of points with that. A lot of people say, why didn't they stay in Turkey? After all, they passed through Turkey to get here. The answer to that is a lot of them have stayed in Turkey. In fact, this is only about 1% of the number of people who are coming into Europe. A lot of them have stayed in Turkey and then have ended up giving up with Turkey because they can't get work permits there. Whereas if they do get asylum in one of the EU countries, they will get a work permit and they will be able to get proper work. And in Turkey, that's not possible. Why don't they claim asylum in any one of the other countries that they pass through? Again, that goes back to the same thing I was talking about earlier about kindred spirits, about families wanting to be linked up. People assume, because they don't know the jungle and this camp is so bad until they get here, they assume that if they can get to the UK, then they can meet up with their family. They often don't know, because their geography is not great in some cases, that the UK is actually, you've got to go through, you've got to go over water or through a tunnel to get to the UK. They don't necessarily know all this. Clearly some do, but some don't. And so again, it's back to that misinformation. They're not clear on what it is, what rights and what options, specifically what options they've got. Am I a journalist? Yes, I work for Sky News. Somebody's blocked me, very good. Well, go, that's fine, no problem. Some firewood being delivered here. Ah, very good. You're blocking other people. Well, my mistake. Hello? 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 Hello. How are you?
Thank you.
Where are you from? Which country? Where are you from? Iraq? Iraq. You have to pinch yourself sometimes to remind yourself that what you're looking at here is in northern France. We're not in some far-flung corner of the third world. This is northern France, not far from where the Eurostar passes as it makes its way from London to Brussels. So I talked about the main area of the camp. Earlier on I was coming through the woods. This is the main section of the camp. One significant problem that is going to materialise, I think, over the next few days and weeks is the fact that because the French authorities have said they are closing or knocking down half of the jungle, which is in Calais, a separate camp, the numbers of people who are going to end up coming here is going to go up. So this camp is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. until such time as they are moved to another camp. There is Médecins Sans Frontières are building a camp near here, which will be more permanent, and people will be able to move there at some stage. But again, that's just going to create a magnet for more and more people to come. Proportion of men to women, definitely more men, no doubt about that. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine.
You have good English.
No, neither.
It's very good. Where in Iraq are you from?
Kirkuk.
From Kirkuk.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in this camp?
8 months.
8 months.
Yes.
And you with your mother and father?
Yes.
And you have brothers and sisters?
Yes.
And where do you want to go?
England.
Why England?
I like.
You like England?
Yes.
You don't want to stay in France?
I don't know.
Is this your mother?
No.
Oh.
Thank you. This.
Okay. So
Thank
12-year-old girl there. Thank you. Shukran.
Bye bye.
A 12-year-old girl there. I suppose I could have asked her to explain why she didn't want to stay in France. She's 12. I shouldn't think she's got really much idea what the difference is. She will know that, that this is a horrible place. She's been here 7 months. What's so special about England? I get asked that a lot. I don't know. I don't know why there is this draw to England. But again, as I said a moment ago, it's worth remembering that the percentage of people who are in the jungle and in this camp, they make up about 1% of all those who are coming to Europe, all those refugees and migrants who are coming to Europe, 1%. So there may be a perception that everyone wants to come to England. Actually, the truth is that actually only a small proportion want to come to England. But this is kind of the end of the line for them, because they get to northern France and then they're stuck here because they're not able, in large numbers at least, to get across the channel to the UK, although they do make it illegally in trucks and on trains on a weekly basis. There isn't a designated trash area, that's why it's everywhere. I was in this camp about 6 months ago, and when I was here 6 months ago, this area you're looking at here was a football field, and there were just probably 200 or so tents around the edge of the camp. Now it's absolutely crowded, and obviously what was a football pitch is now a mud bath. Okay, sorry. Any other queries, questions? So my hand's getting quite tired now from holding the camera up here. Are refugees succeeding in crossing to the UK? Yes. Every week, a handful, I'd say, get through. Many of them then, interestingly, as soon as they get to the UK, they then surrender themselves to the authorities, and then, depending on which country they're from, they will get asylum. So there's this curious situation where Britain clearly won't allow people into the UK, but if they happen to get there by off their own back illegally, then they will get asylum if they're from countries like Iraq or Afghanistan, where they're fleeing war. And the British authorities have a pretty impressive system whereby they can ascertain whether someone is telling the truth or not. Whether someone might say they're from Syria when actually they're not. The border force, British border force, has trained personnel who can work out whether people are telling the truth or not, and then decide whether they should get asylum. How many people are in this camp? No one is really officially counting, but it is said that there's somewhere around about 3,000, I would say. Will they be here for days, weeks, months or years? Who knows? You okay?
Okay.
You speak English? A little.
A little.
Where are you from?
Syria.
From Syria.
Yeah.
Where about? Which city?
Huh?
Which city? From Damascus? From Aleppo? Aleppo.
Kobani.
Kobani.
Kurdish.
Kobani.
Okay.
So Islamic State pushed you out? Yeah?
Yeah.
And how are you now?
Now 2 weeks.
You've been here 2 weeks.
We call it 4 months. 4 months, 5 months, 4.5 months.
In the jungle?
Jungle.
And then you moved here?
Makalis. We're here 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And you've set up a little home there for yourself?
Yalla. How much?
And where are your you have family, you have a wife?
Wife in Turkey.
Wife in
Turkey.
wife in Turkey.
Turkey.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
You hear that quite a lot, that men have come here and left their wives in Turkey, and without thinking about it, it certainly struck me as quite strange that they would leave their wives behind and come on ahead. But then you talk to a lot of people who have done that. We got to know one particular guy who did that, and the reason they do it is, well, it's a few reasons really. One is that they may be trying to pave the way for their families to come, so they don't know, the family doesn't know whether the journey is easy to get here, whether they will survive the journey, and what happens when they get to the other end. So they send the young man of the family, if you like, ahead to try and pave the way, and then the family will follow. There are other reasons as well. Clearly in Syria there is conscription. You are forced to join the military to fight. It's a civil war. Lots of people don't want to join the military to fight their own people, and so they flee for that reason as well. Hello.
Hello. No photo.
No photo, okay. Again, that's the same thing we were talking about earlier with people not wanting their photo taken. That is because, well, it's often, I can't say for that man because I haven't asked him, but it's often because they worry that someone back at home may see them and realise that they've escaped. Are there more places in France like this? There is another, that the jungle is the most well known, but the conditions there are not nearly as bad as the conditions are here. Who brings them food? Oh, people just like this, volunteers who come in to help and give what they can. There are a huge number of volunteers. So it stretches into that side as well. So on both sides of the woodland here, there are many tents. Médecins Sans Frontières, the charity, has got quite a big setup in France, clearly, and they've got a hut here where they help with what they can, and they are building a new camp too. Have any politicians been to visit these conditions? Someone's asking. British politicians, yes. Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party leader, came to the jungle in Calais a few months ago to see for himself. He said he wanted to be able to see for himself exactly what the conditions were like. I can't remember if he came to this camp as well, but he certainly went to the jungle, so he got a pretty good sense of what conditions are like. As I say, you pinch yourself to remind yourself that this is France. Did I get special permission to enter? No, you just walk in. You don't need special permission. How long have I been periscoping for? This periscope, probably about 15 minutes in total. I don't know. Hello, hello. So if you thought these tents maybe were empty, there you go. Little child, 2 little children living in these conditions. Hello.
Hello.
There's some people in this tent here. Okay, I'm going to leave the camp now. Anyway, that is. If I can get this. Work. That's it from this camp outside Dunkirk. Yeah, watch back or tweet me if you have any other questions, and I will, from my limited knowledge, try to put a bit of context into this. Bye for now.